So I just got done reading Yu Yu Hakasho, right? And it got me thinking, do endings really matter in manga? Or in any form of media that you enjoy? Is it really about the journey, or does the destination, and can a garbage, horrible ending that you hated actually affect how you feel about a series that you loved? The thing about it is, obviously, when you think of Yu Yu Hakusho, you think of the Dark Tournament. And in my opinion, the Dark Tournament saga is one of the best tournament arcs in anime, manga, however you want to consume it. It's one of the best. And I don't even really hate after the Dark Tournament, with the psychics and the old spirit detective and that story. But then you get to this final volume, and it just feels like Togashi didn't know what to do. In the middle of the Unification Demon Tournament, he literally is about to fight like this bad guy that has been built up for this, and then it kind of does like the old Rocky freeze frame. I mean, you could have at least shown more of that fight. And while there was probably ways for it to feel better, it felt really rushed for me. It's one of the mangas that I've read most recently that does feel that way. That the ending really just made me feel like, does this one volume 19, affect the rest of the 18 volumes? And that's kind of what I wanted to pose to you guys, right? If you're reading a series and you are so enjoying it, right? And it's getting to that final volume. You're getting that. You're like, it's happening. Maybe your two favorite characters are gonna get together, right? Or, the big battle, the climax is going to happen. If you sense that maybe the creator didn't want it to end, or maybe the creator let it go on for too long and he's kind of not as into this story beat as he was up until this certain point. Like, this arc just was kind of like, it's a really popular series, you should keep going with it. And you're like, oh, so that's how we got Majin Buu. Got it. Yeah. That's about right. Majin Buu. I actually think the Majin Buu Vegeta's sacrifice can never be very good. Because we have spent time with these characters for however many volumes or episodes or whatever it may be, and you really cared about them. And you really want to see their story end. But I think that goes into the biggest question of, it is so hard to nail an ending because you're not going to please everybody. It's just impossible. Even endings that are bad endings that people really did not care for, some people might have liked it. Lost. I'm literally looking at you, Lost. Like I am staring you down. And do you have stories? Because I actually do have stories, right? The Dark Tower is one of them. It's a great novel series from Stephen King. You should definitely check it out if you're interested in like sci-fi Western stuff. Highly recommend. But there are some series where, honestly, when I go back and reread, I kind of stop at a certain point because I'm like, I'm good here. Like, I feel fulfilled with the story that's been told up until this point, and I have seen how the ending works, and honestly, I just don't want to waste my time. But it doesn't take away from the fact that I can still say that story is amazing up until a certain point. So I really don't believe that a story has to be nailed at the end, because I still think the Dark Tournament's great. And I'm not going to think less of Yu Yu Hakusho. I do know that when I go back and reread this manga series, I'm not going to read volume 19. I might read the last chapter, but I just feel like it was honestly a waste. And I hate to say that because I'm sure that he worked really hard at it, and I'm not saying anything about that. He gave us some great characters, but it's almost like he was just kind of afraid to end it, or didn't know how to end it, and it was confusing. But as fans of this stuff, would you be okay with, because I think I would. I have said this for a long time, and I do think that media is turning towards this. I think that I would rather have like a tight manga series or a tight anime or a tight TV show, whatever, instead of drawing out. I think the days of this anime has to run for 100 episodes. This has to do this for this long. This has to, we got to keep going. It's popular. Boy, we got to get them sales. We have to make that money. But for the majority of it, I do think that hopefully anime studio and the manga and stuff are okay with what the creator wants to make. That is the key to it, right? Whatever the creator's story is, I think we're living in the age where they get to tell their story for however long they want to tell it. And I think that's why, especially in shonen titles, the days of 102 volumes are a thing of the past. I think even like Demon Slayer is a perfect example. It's still huge. You know, the new season of the anime is coming out, but it was like 20 something volumes. And I personally, and let me know in the comments if you disagree for sure, but I personally think the days of even 40 volume series are a thing of the past. And that's not a bad thing, because I think with the creator having the ability to tell their story however long they want to tell it, is only going to give us great manga. And the days of, oh, yep, you remember that arc? Listen, they didn't know what they wanted to do. They were just filling time to get to this other thing that they wanted to do. But don't get me wrong, I still think we are going to see manga series get canceled and abruptly end because, you know, they were like, Shonen Jump, they had 7 sales this week. You know, it's not doing well in the reviews. Boom, gone. And that brings up like one of the main points that I think when you're talking about endings you have to talk about is some of these creators do get a little bit of a notice. Hey, you know, your cell rank is falling. Bakuman really does this, talks about this inside baseball so well. Hey, your cells rank are falling. You got to wrap it up, man. You got to go. We got to get it done. And that'll never change. That's the business of the manga magazines. But as fans, and that's kind of the biggest question that I've said is, do you think a rushed ending nullifies the journey the characters have had and lowers your view on the manga? Because I definitely think with this series, if he would have ended it sooner and maybe not felt compelled to really wrap it up with a nice bow, Yu Yu Hakasho would rank very high on my shonen list. While I will always love it and I think it is fantastic, I think the ending really hurt the series. And I think that's where we get the thing where it's like, people, I'm going to wait till this series ends because I don't want to commit to this series. I don't want to spend time with these characters if I heard from the internet or read some reviews or kind of read up on how it is. And I am not going to waste my time because there is so much manga in the world for a bad ending. I know as collectors, I have this too, is I want to wait sometimes for a series if it's a shorter series of like, I want all of it and I want to read it because what if I really love it? I have the flip side. I'm like, what if I love this and I need more? But I also know people that are like, actually, I heard the ending was rushed or ending didn't feel satisfying for the majority of people, so I'm not going to read it at all. And do you feel like they miss out on like good characters? You're like, all right, yeah, I'll fair. The ending is not great, but you still get to witness this journey with these characters. And that is worth it, even though the last volume, yeah, you know, the editor was on his back, this, that, and the third, and they had to end it. But I don't know. What are your opinions down in the comments down below? Will you not read a series if the ending you've heard is garbage? Or is the journey more important than the destination? And as always, I hope if you're having a bad day, it gets better. If you're having a good day, it becomes fantastic. I'll see you next time.